Joining us now, Congresswoman Karen Bass. She's a Democrat from California. She is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. She's also on the Judiciary Committee, which will be holding a hearing with Attorney General William Barr tomorrow morning. Congresswoman, thank you for being here. I always appreciate your time. But this is a very, very important time. This is a very important time. So many Americans have relied upon this federal boost to unemployment. It is over already for a number of Americans. And the Republicans are planning to replace that with $200, despite the fact that millions remain unemployed. What does the future look like for you and the negotiations between Congress and the White House about this?
Well, I think it's going to be very important that we hold fast, because their entire premise is that the reason why people are not going back to work is because they're paid too much money, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I also think it is so offensive when millionaires, multimillionaires, sit around and argue over a $600 check and have no problem at all giving away billions and billions that they don't even want to be accountable for where it's going. And so, unfortunately, the administration still hasn't come to grips with the pandemic. But the question I have is, when will the president, when will the administration come up with a national strategy and recognize that you are not going to get the economy back to where it needs to be until you address COVID?
And that's really the issue. The president and his economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, who we showed there with the nose outside of the mask, they have this belief that if you just get back to work, it's all going to be fine. And yet we're seeing a lot of states setting brand new COVID records. We're seeing massive hospitalizations. We continue to see a higher death toll. It's just not that things are going to open up on their own. There is an infection out there that for the moment in America is uncontrolled.
Well, denial is no strategy. And what I'm concerned about, though, is that the administration just wants to act as though the virus is not there. We all go back to doing what we're going to do, and we need to accept that a number of people are going to die. But almost 150,000 people have died in the last 4 months, and the president never even mentions them. Doesn't mention a name, doesn't mention a story, no amount of empathy. And so I think he's willing to accept a lot more Americans dying, maybe under the illusion that if everybody gets exposed, like in herd immunity, then that's the way we're going to get past this. We have to do what the scientists tell us to do. And until we do this, we're not even going to get past the first phase of this virus. All the other countries have passed us by. There's really no excuse for this at all.
Congresswoman, you and I talk fairly frequently, and I'd like to think that we have a nice rapport. So this is awkward because Politico ran a story that says Karen Bass rises as sleeper pick to be Joe Biden's VP. I just don't want our relationship to get all formal now that you're being considered to be a vice presidential candidate. I want to read you from the article. It says, in recent weeks, Bass has drawn endorsements from a motley crew of political influencers. They range from Daily Kos founder Markos Moulitsas to a conservative columnist, George Will, who described the Congresswoman as a soother and noted how she got along with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy of California as well when they served together in the California state legislature. That's high praise. A lot of people saying you're the person that the president should be, that Vice President Joe Biden should be thinking about as a vice presidential pick. And today you were caught chatting with him.
Yes. Well, you know, I believe that the president is the vice president, soon to be president, 99 days until the election, that he is going to pick the best person. He knows the job. He was in the job. And I just have to say that the women that everyone is talking about, and no one knows who's on the list and who isn't on the list, are phenomenal women. And any of them would be fantastic. I am going to do everything I can to make sure that he gets elected, and once elected, make sure that he's a successful president. What I'm saddened by, though, is that by the time he raises his hand in January to be sworn in, I'm hoping that we don't have 250,000 of dead Americans, and I'm hoping that our economy is not teetering on a depression. But, you know, until the Republicans act, you know that they have had that bill sitting in their chamber for over 2 months, and they wait until people are on the brink of suffering until they decide to go into negotiation. So there's so much that needs to be done, and I'm hoping that our country can hang on until Vice President Biden is sworn in as our next president.